compulsive disorder, also known as OCD. So what is OCD? OCD is an anxiety disorder that makes you do unwanted things or repeat things in your head over and over again. It is very harmful and can diminish the quality of your life, friends, work, earnings, family, and even relationships. Some statistics. So this illness affects 12 in every 1,000 people, which is 1.2% of the population, from young children to adults, and it doesn't matter on like the gender or like your background. And current estimates, there is about 141,504 people that are living with OCD. But what triggers OCD? Experts don't really have like an explanation for like why OCD occurs, but they do believe that it has something to do with genetics or biological factors. Some OCD types. So there are many more to like this, but I'm just going to stick with like the 4 main types of OCDs. So we have checking, contamination, hoarding, and ruminations. Also, would you guys have known that hoarding is a type of OCD? Either did I. Okay. So going on to checking. Checking is the need to check is the compulsion, and the obsession might be to prevent like a fire or leaks or any harm. Some examples like locks on the door, the fear that like a burglar is going to come in or harm them. Lights, candles, appliances, the fear that the house is going to burn down also may be a factor. Next, contamination. The compulsion is to clean, and the obsessive fear is that something is contaminated. Example, using public bathrooms, shaking hands, being in a crowd, and visiting hospitals. So like the fear of contracting germs. Also, people do this around like 100 times a day, and it can cause people to be late to their appointments, work, and dates. Hoarding is another form of OCD, and is an inability to get rid of like useless or like worn out possessions. And here's a little video for you guys if you want to click on it, Bailey. It might take a little bit to blow, but
I don't consider myself to be a hoarder.
you can make it bigger too.
It's called the pool room because there's a beautiful oak pool table in here somewhere. The kids miss it. They would have their buddies come over and play pool. I first started collecting from other people about 35 years ago. My father had a resale shop, so I would go out collecting things with him. And then just in the last 10 years, I started to collect things just for the sheer pleasure of it. This was my pickup last week, this little table, the perfect little thing to fit right here between the garbage can and the tater bin. I know the family is upset with me. My daughter Lauren and her 6-month-old son lives here.
There's not a whole lot of room for him to crawl or any of that stuff. I mean, right now I put him down on my bedroom floor, and that's pretty much the only spot that's open.
My oldest son Scott is upset with me.
It's a pillow that's sitting out here. I mean, throw it away. Seeing a house in such a messy state, it hurts. It's an overwhelming, like, oh, look at this place. It's not safe. And heaven forbid, if something happened to her because of the junk, I don't think I could ever forgive myself.
He thinks he's trying to help me by telling me, don't do this anymore. There's no place left to put anything. But I know there's still a couple corners in the house that don't have anything in them.
So another one, ruminations. Rumination is like a trained or prolonged thinking question or topic that is unproductive. An example might be where a person dwells on the time-consuming question, is everyone basically good? They would ruminate on this for like a long period of time, over and over again, until like they were satisfied with it, like in their head. How many of you guys know Howie Mandel? You probably know him from Deal or No Deal. He's also a comedian, and he is on America's Got Talent. So we can click on him. And he also has OCD.
It is a crippling and mysterious disease that
Keep going, like right there.
even be with his own family at times. Here's David Muir.
It's 7 o'clock in the morning, and Howie Mandel arrives at the set of Deal or No Deal.
First trick of the day.
Almost immediately, glimpses of the Howie Mandel that he's kept secret for most of his career.
Handrails are my enemy. You never go near a handrail. I won't open those things. I would never serve myself. I wouldn't touch this because a lot of people have touched that. This is actually my nightmare.
Mandel has obsessive-compulsive disorder, OCD.
I love this. Every door should just push up.
His obsession, germs, an obsession made famous with his trademark fist bump.
And what's the difference between shaking the hand and the fist bump?
In my mind, this is a petri dish. Otherwise, I would spend the day as I have in the past in my life in the men's room, rubbing, scrubbing, scalding.
But as we were about to learn, Howie Mandel's OCD goes far beyond that fist bump. Offstage, it is all-consuming.
Look, everything's brand new each day. That's normally how a workstation looks. Look at my stuff. All brand new, not touched.
Even Mandel's trademark bald head is this way by choice.
This feels so streamlined and so clean. You know, it just feels cleaner.
Not even 8:30 in the morning, and we've barely scratched the surface. Mandel has written a new book called Here's the Deal, Don't Touch Me, revealing his at times crippling struggle with OCD.
It's uncomfortable, and it's hard, and it's somewhat embarrassing. There were many times when I wanted to back out. I'm not somebody who sits down with strangers as I sit here.
We go way back.
But it's not you, it's them.
Mandel's fans would never know just how deep it goes. Until now, the audience had only heard this.
You and Mandel do not shake hands, okay?
How
You
many
can
of them
knuckle
touch
him, you can hug him. You can knuckle him, you just can't shake his hand.
Backstage, it's the rush to the set.
Okay, but let's skip that just a little. Oops. Right there. That's it. I just want to show
First
you,
considered
he
an
drops a
insult.
pill, and it's like
Your
the
wife
pill
called
that
us
he
on
brought,
that, right?
and
Yeah,
he'll pick it
my
up
wife
and
said
take it
take the
because he
deal.
dropped it.
Mandel tells us he never could have predicted the show's success, an audience of nearly 20 million viewers an episode. Nor did he imagine he'd ever be talking about his mental illness.
You dropped the pill.
Yeah,
As our camera rolls,
it's right here.
he drops the one anxiety pill he brought with him to the set.
I don't want you to touch the floor, and I won't touch the floor. You know, it's coming off like crazy. But why? I'm not going to take it.
To this day, Mandel is in therapy and on medication for the anxiety that comes with his OCD. He won't say which kind because he knows the millions of adults suffering from OCD are also looking for a cure-all. For him, this latest medication came after working with his own doctor, therapist.
But you only brought one pill from the hotel. So that means you'll go without it rather than have the one pill that you have.
Right.
This is precisely the kind of moment Howie Mandel kept secret for so many years, until he let it slip, his battle against OCD on the Howard Stern Show.
You know, I've got a germ fetish. What did you big fear? You're going to get disease? You're going to get sick?
Yeah.
Did you want to take it back immediately?
It was devastating to me. You know, I was incredibly embarrassed, and I thought I had humiliated my family, and I thought that this is going to be the end of my career because people are going to know that I do have mental health issues. It was like, what have I just done? What did I do? What did I do? It wasn't funny.
It wasn't funny, but it was real. And like the 40 million American adults who suffer from anxiety disorders, Mandel's began when he was just a child. He remembers as far back as 6 years old.
They would make fun of me because I couldn't touch my shoes. I could, but I didn't want to.
But you can just see how like it will affect your life and stuff. Oh, too far. Okay, so how can you tell if you have OCD? It begins to like affect men during their late adolescence and women during like their early 20s. Oftentimes people don't even really realize they have OCD because of like the lack of understanding of it and feeling of shame or embarrassment. And people will wait about 10 to 15 years before they actually seek help. Some of your symptoms that you will start having will remain unchanged, but it can also change to a different type of OCD throughout your life. And it affects men and women equally. So some treatments. OCD is chronic, but is also very treatable. With cognitive behavioral therapy, also known as CBT, is a form of talking therapy. The problems like a person has, and helps them explore and understand other ways of thinking, and to challenge their beliefs through behavioral exercises. Also, so here, many people like stop performing their compulsions and decrease their obsessive thoughts here. Also, another way is medication, which decreases anxiety, like the one Howie Mandel had for his pill. And if just cognitive behavioral therapy doesn't help, a combination of medication will be highly effective. And just like any other diseases, a person can manage to change it by like their diet or exercising habits. And a person with OCD can manage their symptoms so it won't interfere like with their daily life. This will allow them to have like a healthier lifestyle. So by receiving appropriate treatments, the highest quality standards of care and support, and sticking to the treatment plan is the key to long-term recovery.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Okay. So it says OCD is very treatable. Someone like Howie Mandel, then, why is he not better?
Well, I'm sure that video was like long ago. Like now they're coming out with like better ways of helping like OCD treatments.
Also, this is like recent?
Like this is more up to date.
Okay.
But he was taking a pill, which helps with like a medication pill. So it decreases like your anxiety of it. And some people have different levels of it, you know? So it could be, some might have it worse than others. Yeah.
Okay, so like, just like you said, some people might have it worse than others, but like, it takes a long time for people to seek help. So like, does it get worse in those years that they don't seek help, or is it just all the same?
Like I said, that like, some of their symptoms like are unlikely to like change, but some people, their symptoms will change to like a different type of OCD throughout their time.
So it kind of just stays the same, and it like
It
symptoms
depends,
don't get
like
worse?
yeah, it depends on the person. So some might stay the same, and some might like change. You know. Lucas.
You said like it like affects 1.2% of the population. Is that like the world population or just like
World population. Because if it was just in the U.S., I think that'd be pretty low. Any other questions?
Can I volunteer?
Yeah.
My daughter has OCD. So if you have questions about how it affects somebody your age, there is some of it. What I've learned is, where they say that you mentioned that they don't know what causes it.
Yeah.
If you think about it, what we've learned through her experiences and stuff is that in your brain there's a receptor, which is kind of like your off switch, right? So like, we've all been there. You wake up in the middle of the night, you're stressing about your test, or your boyfriend didn't text you, or you have those thoughts, right? But usually you have some sort of way that's going to calm that, and you're going to move past that anxiety, right? With OCD, a lot of times what it is that switch doesn't function correctly. So it is that biological thing that you have. It's not turning up. So that's where the obsession comes up. There's this cycle that that thought pattern won't stop.
And does she like going to treatments and stuff, or does she do therapy?
Yeah, she does medication. She tried the CBT, but really, here's the thing. It's not like it's for her, there's not a reason why she has OCD. Like, it's not like, this happened, so now I have OCD. It is this, this receptor, so to go and talk about it, then she found she just didn't really have anything to talk about, if that makes sense. And, right, and there are ways that through the CBT that you can go in and you can control your behaviors and lessen them.
Yeah.
But she has found that wasn't overly effective. It is a process that with the medication, when they talk about like, why don't they just go and take a pill and be cured? It's not as easy as that, because with any sort of disease, whether it's mental or physical, your body can adapt to the medication. And as you change, like think about where you're at now, and as your hormones change and everything else, that affects your body chemistry, right? So as that happens, how your body responds to medication changes. And it's kind of a best guess, because there's a couple different medications they use. And it all depends on how it reacts to your body's chemistry. So it's a best guess. She had, one that worked well, but then it stopped really working. So they upped her dosage and basically over-medicated her for about 6 months. So yes, it stopped the behaviors, but it basically, was, I guess, made her very apathetic in that side. So she has since tried a different one, and that one's very successful. So it's really, and like I said, it's two things. It's an anxiety that, your brain doesn't have that off switch. And then it's the compulsive behaviors are the things that they use to basically lessen that anxiety. And no, they don't always make sense. That's kind of how you know it's a disorder. That it's not, and hers was typical of the hand washing and that sort of thing, which